What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? You know what time it is. Episode 68 in the mix, big baby. Before we get to it, got our guest, the Orneth_Soul. You know what time it is. I am your host, Gaddis TV. What's going on? If you got yourself an iPhone or an Android, do yourself a favor, download the FTX app and stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrencies and NFTs. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, and we are live and direct. So first off, Orneth, I want to say thank you for coming on. Take some time out of your afternoon right now and just sharing a little bit about yourself and kind of what you do. So I appreciate that.
Easy, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For I guess the people that will be tuning in, I'm sure some people will know you. Of course, some people won't. So hopefully, people that don't will eventually now know you. But in general, let us know a little bit about yourself. In the essence of, I guess, what were you doing before for crypto? When did you kind of find crypto? And then, I guess, how did you find soul in general?
Yeah, for sure. So after I finished high school, I went to uni and did civil engineering. So I'm a civil engineer by trade. But it was sort of a weird road after that. It was hard to find jobs when I finished. So I never actually ended up working as an engineer. Nowadays, IRL, I am a beer brewer. And I'm sort of in the process of planning to set up my own brewery with a business partner. So that's keeping me quite busy. In terms of crypto, when did I get into crypto? About January last year, 2021. Okay. Unfortunately, it was Doge that got me into crypto. I apologize.
Shit.
But yeah, man, I had some sort of normie friends who were buying Doge and they told me about it and I looked into it and then, down the rabbit hole. So I was sort of trading crypto for a while and then got into Soul NFTs in about early August last year. So I sort of, I sort of wanted to find a way to trade that was a little bit less risky and easier to manage. And I was like, NFTs sound cool, like people are making money off them. And one of my mates was already into, he'd minted some DGen apes and he was like, check this out. So I went straight to Soul and I pretty much haven't traded crypto since. I've just been trading NFTs since then. So
nice. Hopefully it's been more positive than negative on that. Because, NFTs, just like anything else, and, no financial advice. Shit could be crazy, good and bad. So I guess before Andy, you were, I apologize, you said the engineering, you said the civil engineering. I guess what were the plans, I guess, out of school? Or I guess what was that overall, the dream job, you know what I mean, that they're going to school for? I guess on there, because I'm sure you had to do the schooling and all. What was your plans?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't really know for sure what I wanted to do at university or college, as you guys call it. Yeah. But I was good at maths and I liked maths and science. And I was like, well, I'll do engineering. I enjoyed the theory of it. And it was good. Like I really enjoyed the degree, and it was, I think, a very important life experience for me to have. And I mean, if I could have got a job easily, I probably would have still been working in engineering. I don't know how it would have went. Who knows? But sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I probably still would have got bored of it because it's an office job sitting in front of a computer mostly. You do site visits, but I've done other office jobs and I got pretty bored pretty quick. So yeah, it's hard to know what would have happened, but pretty much it wasn't like a dream to be an engineer or anything like that. So
I guess that's what I was getting to. I was like, what was it? The aspirations, like, bro, you about to make the next something, but
no, nothing like that.
Not yet, though. Not yet. I like it. We'll keep it with the yet part. With the Doge part, because one of my, I guess you would say, Norm buddies as well. That was one of his first things, and he's not really into crypto really too much, even right now. But I remember he was asking me about it, and I I think I was one of the people like I was like I don't know exactly. I think it's a hype coin. You know what I mean? It will go up and won't go up. So apparently he bought it like at a strong price. You know what I mean? And just a little bit, you know. But he was like, oh shit. And of course I tell him everything else. He's like, maybe. He's like, once
Yeah.
you make it. I'm like, bro, no. Like, I guess I can't tell you exactly I'm gonna make it, but like, make it with me. Like, come with me. But you never know.
Yeah.
With the brewery stuff, then that's interesting as well. I guess how did that start? Was it I guess how did that one start? You just around with a buddy or thinking, hey, you know what I mean? This beer is good,
Yeah.
but I can make it
Yeah.
that to much better. How was that started?
It sort of started out as a hobby. So I started home brewing for probably 5 years ago now, a bit over. And yeah, I was just like, I moved from a smaller country town to like a capital city, and I was like, holy crap, check out all these beers. Like, why are there so many different ones? And I got right into it. And I sort of fell in love with craft beer, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna make some myself. I'm sort of science minded, so I thought I'd give it a go. And yeah, again, I sort of just went down the rabbit hole. Once I get keen on something, I just like go for it. So I did heaps of reading, and I signed up for a diploma in brewing. Started doing that from home. And I didn't really expect to end up in the industry like professionally, but I think my wife said to me one day, like, oh, you know, you make some really nice beer, all your friends like it. Why don't you like look into selling some at a local market or whatever? And I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Check it out.
Shout out wifey, okay.
Yeah.
Now, not to throw you in the doghouse. You saying that because wait, is it Valentine's Day where you are? Is it the 14th?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not yet.
I was like, man, you trying to get the brownie points. Listen, you see, good or bad right now, I don't got a chica, so I can't be sleeping on the couch. You know what I mean? But shout out to wifey for you on that one. She's letting you know on that. That's what's up. What did you always have a go-to? I guess brewery or type of, I know you say craft, but what shoot, now when you said scientist, are you in your spot like with the, I don't know, the fucking beakers and everything else? Like, all right, let me hop it up here, let me do this. Like, how? Don't let your process, I guess, be known, but like how do you make a beer overall?
Yeah. No, I can definitely talk about that. So yeah, I jumped straight into all grain brewing. So like a lot of home brewers will use extracts and stuff. But basically the way it's made commercially is you get grain, which is usually mostly barley. You can add like wheat or corn or rice or oats, like there's a bunch of different things, but mostly barley. And basically you soak that in hot water, which extracts the sugars from inside the grains. Like the enzymes break down starch and turns it to sugar, and you end up with this sugar water pretty much. Take out the grain, boil that liquid, and then you add hops in the boil while it's boiling to give bitterness and flavor as well, obviously. And then basically you just cool that down, put it in a clean fermentation vessel, add some yeast, let it turn into alcohol. That's the quick version.
Nah, I fuck with him. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure I've heard the overall process somewhere, but honestly, I like it now. I'm probably just gonna be drinking my beer. I'm like, yeah, okay, the fermentation. People are like, what the fuck you talking about? I'm like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So
Exactly.
with the name, because I asked you how to say it beforehand, because I'm maybe not famous, but I'm famous at mispronouncing names and the little things like that. So Ornith, correct?
Correct. Well done.
And so I guess what is that? I know you're, I won't say big, but I guess you're taking a lot of pictures of birds. Is that what it is? What is Ornith? What is it short for? How did your name come?
Yeah. So ornith is sort of just a shortening of ornithology, which is the study of birds. So yeah, I sort of use that in a few different ways, I guess, that name. Originally, I was sort of getting into the photography, and I wanted to come up with a name for my Facebook page, and I photograph birds pretty much exclusively. So, that's where I got that from. But I've also like started my own brewing company since, which I've called Ornith Brewing. It's like my gamer tag. It's obviously my crypto name, so it's just everywhere. I just use it for everything now. But yeah, it comes from originally my photography and my love for birds. So
Nice. With the photography thing, when did you I guess start getting involved with that? Because I mean, I've done some weddings, things like that. So photography, videography to an extent. I get my sister's super dope. But I guess how did your I guess passion start on just cameras in general? Was it I guess back in like the American version college, I guess university, or when did that all start at? When is that memory? You're like, you know what? Damn.
yeah. So well, I was into birds before I was into photography. So
Okay.
like
What got you
I
interested in the birds then? We'll start there.
Yeah. I grew up in a family where we did heaps of camping trips, and we went out into the bush and the outback in Australia for like sort of a 3 or 4 week trip every year. And we just like explore around. And my dad was super into nature, so like he would just like slam on the brakes on the highway and like pull over and jump out of the car and like come back with a little like leaf or a flower, and he'd be like, "Oh, look, I found this tree," and I'm like, what is happening? Like,
Dad, what are you
what
doing?
I never really got into trees like he was, but he loved birds as well, and that rubbed off on me. So I sort of grew up bird watching or birding with Dad on those trips, and I guess I started off looking at them through binoculars like most birders do. But when I was about 16, I started like trying to take photos of them because I was like, oh man, like I love looking at these birds, but once you've seen them and you put your binoculars away, like it's just a memory, and I kind of want to share that with people. I want to be like, hey, check this out, look what I saw. And so that's what got me into photography. I started with like super cheap camera with nowhere near enough zoom, and my photos were so bad. They were pretty bad for a long time, actually. But yeah, I just kept doing it, and I like sort of kept upgrading my cameras over the years, and I guess I got sort of really into it maybe 10 years ago when I was probably about 22, 23. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I guess the bird, I guess the fascination I hear, the kind of tree stuff rubbed off from Pops. I guess what got you fascinated with birds? Because it sounds really dumb, but I mean, there's tons of fucking different species, of course, stuff like that. So like, is that the stuff
Yeah.
like that, or like, I guess with realistic, like all the bird watching things like that? Can you, I guess, kind of see how I guess different species kind of are, to an extent?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I think I don't know what it was that made the birds rub off onto me and not everything else, but I guess like they're everywhere. Like you can always see a bird sort of wherever you are. They're easy to find depending on what species you're looking for. But like it's not like going around and looking for snakes or lizards or like whatever. Like a lot of the other animals are pretty hard to track down. So I guess it was just like accessibility for me. I was just like, hey, there's a bird. Let's check it out. What is it? And I think like I've always like had this collector sort of personality. Like I grew up loving Pokemon. Like I don't know, and birds are sort of like a real life version of Pokemon. Like
Yeah, Pikachu with wings. Okay.
you gotta find them all. You gotta see them all. And like I'm not a full on like keep all these lists of what species I've seen sort of guy. But I do love trying to see birds that I haven't seen before, and get photos of birds I haven't got photos of before. Like it's sort of a challenge for me, and yeah, it's just really nice to spend time out in nature doing that at the same time. So
when you're doing like the, I guess, but one is, I guess it sounds like you do like nature overall in general. I guess since you've been doing it since a kid, so that's, I guess, one a plus. Because I know I've seen like some of the National Geographic documentaries when, you know, they'll be out there for, you know, the 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. You know what I mean? Of course, take a lot of shots, but we get that one shot.
yeah.
I guess with a lot of the birds, I mean, are there some times when you're going out actually looking for like particular like species, like you said, or I guess thankfully since it's, I guess, a hobby ish.
Yeah.
I say ish because I'm pretty sure you had your actual like website store, so I'll go to that in a quick second as well. But I guess how is that process? Is it like, hey, I'm gonna go look for a fucking a ThugBird today, and then like an eagle tomorrow, or like how is that process going?
Yeah. It's a bit of both. Like sometimes I'm definitely going out looking for a specific species to photograph, and sometimes I'll just head down to a spot where I know there'll be birds around and see what I see. So yeah, definitely both of those options, but it can be pretty like you need patience. Can take a long time, especially if you are looking for a certain species. Like you've got to find it for a start, but then you just got to like sit there and wait until you can actually get a good shot. Like every time I go out, I end up with hundreds or thousands of photos, and I keep probably like 5 sort of thing. So yeah, I'm glad we have digital cameras, I'll say that. Like I can't imagine people doing this in the old school days with film. Like you wouldn't be able to waste that much film, right? Like
You
it
got
would have
another
been
one
so
where you just go, are you doing that way, or are you doing it? Oh, it's a fucking, what's happening? No, that's the way
pretty
to
much.
do
I
it.
don't
Yeah,
even
the
know if
burst.
or not. I'm just like pointing the camera at the sky and hoping for the best. No, not really.
I mean, I guess that makes sense too, because I guess a lot of them are flying and everything. I'm looking at most of the birds on, like you say, on the exchange art, on your exchange art,
Yeah.
are all these from, I guess, Australia, or are these from like different places you visited overall? And is this a painting? Wait, what is this? You in
Which one?
a plane right
I
now?
don't think.
Oh, I gotta wait for it to load up. Sorry, it just threw me off on that one.
I apologize for the loading time on that site. I should have downsized the photos.
Oh, you're good. Listen, 4K is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Okay. I was like, what the fuck, bro? You in a plane? Dog? Okay, it's definitely got to be, yeah, okay. So that threw me off on that one.
That's all right. No, they're all from Australia, those ones. I haven't really done much bird photography overseas yet. I would love to. But yeah, I don't even know really anything about birds from elsewhere other than Australia. I know a lot about Australian birds, but that's about it. Yeah, I just haven't really had the opportunity yet to spend time photographing overseas. So yeah, pretty much all Aussie.
Do you have, I guess, a favorite species in general? Maybe not just taking a photo of, but just in general, like that you like, or what is your bird of choice?
It's a hard question. I can never really answer that question. It's difficult. I really like the small, colourful birds like finches and fairy wrens. I also really like birds of prey. They're just awesome. So cool to watch. Yeah, I can't choose a species, but they're probably like my 2 favorite sort of groups of birds. Yeah.
What I guess what are you shooting on the camera? Do you have one of the, I guess, the long lenses, or it's like, football field, you gotta have 2 arms and you're zooming in that way?
Yeah.
What do you? Okay, you are. Oh Jesus, we got like was it the 500?
Yeah,
500?
it's exactly the 500. Yeah, I've got a Canon 5D Mark IV and a 500mm lens. Yeah.
Nice. I never shot on one of them, but I know it's like the size of a little human. So fucking
yeah. can get pretty heavy and hard to lug around sometimes, but you get used to it.
With the people that I guess might be listening in, but like, oh, I just bought a camera or something like that. I don't want to get into it. I guess not too like technical or anything like that, but I guess with being in photography, I know, of course, I know a little bit about the shutter speeds, ISO, stuff like that. I guess was that I guess like a hard process to learn overall, or realistically, do you kind of have it on like the autofocus for a lot of stuff, or not autofocus, but like the auto, I guess like ISO and Aperture stuff like that? Because I know at least with me, low light, if you're doing a wedding and pumping up that ISO by a lot, of course it looks a little bit grainy, things like that, which I had to learn that stuff out. Thankfully, not the hard way, but beforehand. So like, I guess things like that, are there not certain settings, but are those type of things got to be looked at as well in the photography world that way, or I guess how do you set it up?
I guess like if we're talking about like beginners wanting to get into it, like I would say, like, for sure, if you're not comfortable, you can certainly start on an auto settings setting. That's fine. You do definitely want to get to the point where you're in control of all your settings, because there are lots of times where your camera won't get it right, particularly if your subject is in shade and there's light behind it, or vice versa. It's not going to expose for your subject correctly if you have it on auto. Things like that, and low light, like your camera might just pump the ISO right up automatically, and then your photo is going to turn out looking like crap, right? So I would say, like, if you're wanting to get into it, like I would recommend starting on like an aperture priority mode, where you set the aperture, and then your camera will automatically work out your shutter speeds and ISOs around that. And when I used to use aperture priority mode, I would also use like a exposure compensation. So like you can set your aperture, and then you can, like, if it's not looking quite right, you can up the exposure manually or down manually, just to get it where you want it. That's sort of the best way, I think, to learn manual settings. And honestly, like, do that for a while, get your head around that, and then it's not much of a leap to go full manual, I don't think. Like, it's sort of the same deal. You think about how much light is around, you set your ISO where you want it, you think about what sort of depth of field you want, you set your aperture where you want it, and then you can muck around with your shutter speed to get the exposure right,
Question on that one, just for someone that might be listening, and me. So like, because I was thinking as well when you're saying that, it's for the most part, like you said, you get all those things situated for the ISO, things like that, the range. Realistically, are you kind of just worrying about that time if it's like a big ass cloud that comes in and gets everything darker? Are you changing the shutter speed, or is that a quick ISO change, or is that in post when you're just in Photoshop, like, all right, let me levels up?
Yeah.
How is that specific scenario?
Yeah, I mean, it is
all the above,
especially when you're like wildlife or something like that. It's obviously, if you're just photographing a landscape, you've got time. I mean, if you're trying to shoot a sunset, then you've got less time. But like, obviously, birds, you have no time, right? You want to like get the photo. So that's why I would sort of recommend getting your head around aperture priority before heading to manual, because you really got to think on your feet and know what to do. But man, like, it depends on the situation, I reckon. If you're trying to shoot birds in flight, then you need your shutter speed to be up, right? You need to freeze that movement. So if a cloud came over and put you in the shade, then I would probably be upping my ISO. But if it's not, the high shutter speed is not required, then I might change that as well. But it's really about understanding what's required in the situation you're in, and yeah, trying to think on your feet and realizing when your conditions are changing. But there's always going to be times where you like stuffed up, like a cloud's come over and you forgot to change your settings, or the sun's come out and you forgot to change your settings. and then you just got to hope that it's redeemable in post processing when you get back home. Yeah.
With the, I guess the photos and the just the years, honestly, of, I guess, taking photos on that. Maybe not an exact like photo, but are there any like shots that resonate with you? That you, when you look at it, even if it's not like on exchange or anything like that, where you're just like, man, like, fuck yeah, bro. You know what I mean? Do you have any of those? Or are you hard on yourself with that?
I'm pretty hard on myself, but it's about experiences, I think, for me as well. Not just the result. Like, I don't know. I do have an image that I got a highly commended in a competition for, so I'm pretty proud of that one. It's a photo of a hooded plover on a white sand beach. And
Question:
I think
what was that? It was you said he got published in what?
I won a highly commended in the Australian BirdLife Australia photo competition. Yeah. So I was stoked with that. I guess there's a couple of others that I think are on exchange. There's one that I got of a pair of leatherwing kites mating. So they're like a bird of prey, white and black with red eyes. They're pretty rare and hard to find. And yeah, I went out on a trip with a mate of mine and my parents, and we just had this amazing afternoon of watching this pair like sit on a tree, and they would like like fly off
smashing, bro. Oh, okay, the bird smash.
Come back. Ooh. Yeah, and then we got to see them mating, and it was like, oh my goodness, how many people have actually seen this? It was really cool, and that was actually the last trip I did with my dad before he passed as well. So that's a really nice memory for me. Yeah, and I guess the wedge-tailed eagle as well, which was the same trip. We were watching this eagle sitting on like a dead kangaroo on the side of the road and like eating it. And it just like there would be trucks driving past which would scare it away, and then it would fly back to the kangaroo. And so I got some really cool photos of it in flight and also eating as well, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice. So one sorry to hear about your dad. My condolences on that. Don't know when it was, but still sorry to hear on that one.
Thank you.
And then I would say I'm pretty sure the ones you were talking about are kind of on the ones on the screen with the letter wing kite, which that's a fresh, honestly, like picture as well. And then like you said as well, because I'm more of I'm that type of person that I see something on a postcard, I want to see it in real life, even though I might not be able to make it happen, but I want that experience. So that's cool as well that you, I guess, and maybe most photographers and maybe videographers might do it like that as well. But like, it's cool that you're there, you take I guess the photos, and it's not just boom. It's your art, you know what I mean? It's hey, I took a picture, but that picture, this picture is, hey, it came with fucking this damn 7-hour drive on this, that the wheel busted, this, Y, and Z, and then you know what? At least time I expected, I got my camera, and then pow, and that's how it came. People are like, wait, what? For real? Okay. So
yeah, I feel like the challenge is in photography or even any art, I guess, is to show your viewers what's in your mind and to bring them along for that experience. And like it's pretty hard to do, but that's kind of my goal with my photography. I want to like inspire others to see how beautiful birds are and also nature in general, and to enjoy it for themselves. Yeah.
No, I like it, man. Have you sold any of your pictures that way, your photography photos before, or I guess are they up? Say if someone did, you know what I mean, want to scoop up one of your pieces. I guess has anyone overall?
Yeah. So
Nice.
I've sold a couple here and there over the years, but it's pretty hard. Like especially wildlife photography. Like I feel like there's a small audience who's actually interested in putting a photo like that up on their wall or whatever it is, like as opposed to maybe landscape or like street art or whatever, street photography, I should say. It's a pretty hard slog to actually make any sort of money out of wildlife photography unless you get picked up by a magazine or whatever, you know. So I never really worried too much about that. It's mostly a hobby for me. I think I sold one to a winery once. They wanted to put that bird on their label for one of their wines, so that was pretty cool.
That's dope.
And yeah, I've sold a couple on my exchange store, but I've only just started doing that. So,
Nice.
you know, sort of seeing how it goes, I guess. Yeah.
With I guess with kind of question on that one, I guess because you said like it's kind of hard, I guess, to do it in the regular world, real world. Do you think there's, I guess, maybe not right this second, but a better, maybe not advantage, but a better way to get people to see like your work, people's like photography, things like that, on like the crypto world, kind of like it is on the exchanges, things like that, because you know what I mean, I don't know, screw it, the people that got mad money, you know, and some crypto heads might be like, yo, I'll fuck with this and I'll put it on my wall. You know what I mean? Like that's, I guess, the beauty of it. It could be a whole nother community. Maybe even not a fucking crypto head who's rich. It could just be someone who has the same passion as you and is like, you know what, I resonate with this too. So do you think that's something, I guess, where do you think that is in the stages of photography and crypto? Of course, super early, but do you think it's beneficial in the long haul, or you think it's just
I hope so.
a phase? You know what I mean? What's the thoughts?
I think NFTs have sort of gathered a lot of people together into the same place who are into art, and you know, obviously there's a lot of people who aren't in it for the art either. It's an investment, and that's fine. But I guess I can see the one of one season sort of starting to happen. And I think photography is probably even further away than that, in terms of being popular as an NFT. It's hard to know what'll happen, but I sort of I feel like the money making opportunities in NFTs will slowly sort of start to calm down. It's not going to be like this forever, surely, right? So like, I don't know, maybe it will become more art focused. Who knows?
But I mean, some people might, of course, like you said, try to flip stuff like that. But on the flip side, and maybe it might be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, but I don't know. I guess maybe when you said like you sold your picture to the, I guess, that wine company, I'd say it'd be cool, I guess, opportunities where it might be easier for like people to see your work or other photography, like photos, and just doesn't matter what it is, and potentially maybe somehow they reach out to you on that way, which I don't know. I'm always a hopeful thinker, you know, and I'm always positive vibes and hoping the best. Granted, you know, I expect the worst sometimes, but I don't know. I think it is very early, but I think, like you said, you know, of course, the phase where the flippers want to flip, you know, of course, I guess it's always going to be there. But on the same time, like, I think people that are liking art are coming more towards it. And again, like, honestly, my mom would be one of the people that they don't care what if it's so fucking, you know what I mean, $1 bill. If she likes it, like it and resonates it with her, she'll be like, yo, I fuck with it. She won't say that. She'll, what are you saying? My bad, mom. But like, I don't know. Maybe I think stuff like that is good. And two, I mean, you have quality, you know, work. You know what I mean? It's not like out of focus. You're not like, yeah, these are best focuses ever, and it's looking like trash. You know what I mean? Like, it's quality. And I guess, you know, to win one of those awards with the Australian photography thing, you got to do it on there. So keep doing what you're doing on that. I was looking at the time, and I already took you over the 30-minute mark, so sorry about that. So we'll wrap it kind of up here soon. With the photography part of it, really quick, are there, I guess, any, not exact projects, but I guess certain birds you've been trying to get the last couple weeks, months, something that's been a pain in your side that you haven't got yet? What is that bird that you want to get and you haven't got yet?
Yeah. Man, I've been really slack with my photography for the last couple of years, to be honest. So like you'll probably notice that most of the stuff on my exchange is from sort of 2.5 years ago. I've just been so busy. I've got a little 4-year-old toddler,
Nice.
so you know how it is. It's a hard season of life. But yeah, man, there are definitely birds that I really want to see and photograph well. If I can, there's plenty of like really cool endangered parrot species in Australia that are hard to find and hard to photograph, and other species as well. But yeah, there's a long list, bro. There's quite a few places I still really want to go, and birds I want to try and get for sure.
No, 100%. I don't know. And I guess the other cool things that we had another guest before where they sold one of their pieces of work. It was an art piece, but he said it was from literally 10 years ago. So I mean, like you said, it's even like, oh, bro, it's been 3 years ago. If it's fresh, it's fresh. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep it up, bro. You know what I mean? Because again, I mean, hopefully it builds a passion with the stuff you are working on. Because I know on the Twitter, we'll get into it a little bit before we ended up with the Solana Bird Brunch. I guess you got a NFT you working on. What is this coming from? What is that? Give you some time to shill it really quick.
Yeah, easy. Thanks, man. Yeah. So I founded an NFT project on Solana called Solana Bird Bunch, and it's basically a project aiming to raise money for bird conservation. So it's a generative art project. All the traits are taken from real life endangered bird species, and our first collection is focused on Australian species. So yeah, we've taken like the 17 species of birds that are endemic to Australia and are endangered or critically endangered, and drawn them up, and then split up the traits attributes, and it's sort of going to work that way. The rarities will be based on the rarity of the real species in real life. So it's sort of I like primarily it's a fundraising thing for conservation, and we'll be giving 50% of the mint proceeds straight to that. But also I sort of see myself wanting to create this sort of community for bird lovers and for conservationists to hang out in the Web3 space. It's very early and it's a hard slog at the moment, but I hope that one day we can become that gathering place for people like that. We're gonna do some more collections down the line, focusing on different global regions and the endangered species from those regions. We're going to run some seminars and workshops and hopefully even some IRL bird walks or photography workshops and stuff like that. So like really keen to get some real world utility in there, as well as sort of the standard like utility that you have with NFTs at this point in time. Like I'm sharing royalties with holders. Going to have some NFT merging utility so that the collection becomes deflationary. People will hopefully aim to merge their NFTs into like a purebred single species artwork. And if they can do that, then they get a multiplier on their royalty share, and we'll donate some more money on their behalf to the conservation of that actual species. A few different things like that. There's more to it, but I won't keep rambling.
Nah, I heard that. Yeah, like I said, I give you a quick, a minute or two just to let it know, because I hate being an asshole, but you know what I mean. I want to make sure everything tries to stay fair as possible and try and keep it just on the stuff. But
For sure.
You know what I mean. Hell, if I'm a nice guy and I get yelled at for this, sorry. On I guess that note, any other than the project you're working on, anything I guess photography wise or things just in life you're excited on? I guess like any closing thoughts that you wanted to I guess bring up or talk about that we haven't yet, or I guess any final thoughts?
I guess I just want to say that, like, if you're thinking about sharing your art or your photography on Web3 or even elsewhere, don't hold back. Like, it is a hard slog. Don't expect to sell all your pieces straight away or make heaps of money out of it, for sure. But like the whole point of art and photography is not only to record your experiences but to share them with others. Yeah. And I think, like, yeah, if you're someone that is thinking about doing that, just take the leap. It might start slow, but get into it. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I guess the last question then, because it made me think, what made you jump into putting the photos on here? Was it just, and you might have said it before, was it a buddy? Was it just, you were like, well, I think you said it was you seeing kind of all the activity and you decided why the heck not. Is that correct? Or was there a person behind it that was like you just said, bro, just go for it? What's the worst case that happens? Nothing happens. Okay. You know what I mean? Who was that drive, or was that you?
Yeah. Well, I'm a part of the Aussie DAO, who I think you're about to have on straight after me, which is cool. And there are a few guys in there who do some sort of one-of-one art and sell it on Holoplex or Exchange. And I was like, oh yeah, like this could be a cool idea, but I don't really see much photography on there. Maybe it's too early. Maybe it's not going to happen. And the guys were like, do it, man. They had a look at my website and they were like, your photos are cool. Chuck them up. Like, you'll find someone with an interest in that at some point, sort of thing. And so I was like, yeah, why not? I'll give it a go. And yeah, like I said earlier, I hope that it's a bit of an easier space to gather people who are into art than just putting it up on a website and trying to spruik it on Facebook or whatever, So yeah.
Nice. The last thing, because I usually forget with most people, but I can't because I'm looking at your ThugBird and your Thug shades on there. Can we get a call from me real quick?
Caw.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. On that one, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and end it up on this one. So if you don't mind, stick around, kind of like the beginning of it. We go ahead and end it. But for real, thank you for coming on, taking some time out of your afternoon, and let me keep you a little longer than that 30 minutes. So my bad, but I appreciate that, bro.
Not at all. Thank you so much for having me.
100%, bro. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what time it is, big baby. Let's get it. If you're not already, go ahead and follow Ornith_soul. And you already know what time it is. If you're not already, follow ThugBirdz, ThugPod, ThugDAO. Till next time, y'all, stay fresh, stay clean, stay positive. And one more time. Caw-caw!